The day he signed his name on the marriage certificate, I signed mine on another piece of paper. He signed a marriage license. I signed a one-way ticket to Munich. On Instagram, he posted a photo. Outside the bureau, the little red booklet in hand, Brielle leaning on his shoulder, laughing. The caption, 4 words, "The rest is you." I stared at those 4 words for a long time. Then I closed the app and tapped confirm purchase. One way. Before we go on, subscribe to the channel and tell us in the comments where you're listening from. I learned he'd gotten married at 2:17 p.m. I remember exactly because I was revising the procurement deck, Tech's annual buy, a $36 million deal. My phone buzzed. The company's Slack channel. Someone dropped a screenshot. Derek's Instagram post. Derek's married? Who's the bride? Brielle, the one from marketing. When did that happen? I stared at the screen, fingers frozen. Brielle. I'd been the one who hired her. On interview day, she'd called me Taylor. I told HR, she's sharp, keep her. Now she was on Derek's shoulder, smile sugary wide. Messages kept scrolling. Does Sienna know? The moment that line appeared, the channel went quiet. 3 seconds. 5. No one followed up. They all knew. The whole office knew I'd been in love with Derek. Everyone except Derek didn't know. I turned my phone face down on the desk, kept revising the deck. Page 3, the pricing matrix. The numbers blurred. I blinked. No tears. Not that I didn't want to cry. I simply couldn't. 8 years. From sophomore year to now 8. Spring semester, sophomore year. He twisted his ankle on the basketball court. I lugged a first aid kit across 3 dorms. He sat on the ground, laughing at me, panting. Sienna, why the dash? I'm not dying. That was the first time my heart sprinted. In the 8 years that followed, I did a lot. He applied to grad school. I organized his materials. He job hunted. I rewrote his resume. He landed at Ruhung. I followed to Ruhung. He was short on cash for a down payment. I lent him $200,000. 200 grand. Every penny I'd saved in 4 years of working. He wrote an IOU promising repayment by year end. That was 2 years ago. The note still sits in my drawer. Quinn. I never pressed him, because I thought, when he finally repaid, I might work up the nerve to say the sentence. I like you. From sophomore year until now, 8 years. I like you. No need to say it anymore. He's married. The bride isn't me. My phone buzzed again. Not Slack this time, a text. Your application to LMU Munich's Visiting Scholar program is confirmed. Please obtain your visa within 7 days. The email had arrived 3 days earlier. I hadn't answered because I was waiting. Waiting for what? I couldn't explain. Maybe for him to suddenly message. Sienna, we need to talk. No more waiting. I opened the email and replied with 2 words. Confirmed. Before I left, I had to hand everything off. Ruhung Tech procurement deck. 36 million. Biggest deal I'd handled in my 4 years here. More accurately, biggest deal I'd handled solo. Initiation, research, competitor analysis, pricing model, client interface. All me. Yet the cover page listed project lead. Derek. Simple reason. Last year's internal promotion. Derek made group lead. Half his promotion packet had come from my keyboard. The presentation. 47 slides. I'd pulled 3 straight all-nighters. He spoke for 20 minutes. The execs nodded. Derek's got vision. He came back thanking me, then treated me to a bowl of Lanshow beef noodles. $14. I'd written 47 slides. He bought me $14 noodles. After the promotion, he became lead. I stayed grunt. But the workload didn't change. Still mine. On the 36 million Ruhung deal, the client contact was Emery. Emery only trusted me. At every meeting he'd say, "Let Sienna present. She makes sense." Derek would sit nearby, smiling. Sienna's our core. Core. In front of the client, he called me core. Inside the company, he pasted his name on my deck. I never objected. I told myself, we're one team. Besides, after each client report, he'd find me. Sienna, working late tonight? Dinner's on me. Still noodles. But he'd sit across from me, smiling while I ate. That smile made everything feel worth it. 8 years. That smile fooled me for 8 years. The 200,000 story starts 2 years ago. He wanted to buy an apartment. Prices keep climbing. If I wait, I'll miss the window. I'm a bit short on the down payment. Could you spot me? He looked at me. Same smile. Think of it as an investment. Once I earn big, I'll pay you double. I transferred every dollar in my account. 200 grand. My fingers shook while typing the password. Not because I hated parting with money. I was thrilled. I believed him. Asking meant trust. Meant we shared something special. I even pictured myself cooking dinner in that new apartment. I stopped the fantasy there, cheeks burning. He took the money and paid the down payment the next day. Eastbrook, 2-bed, 2-bath. During renovation, he posted once. New home, new start. Photo of an empty living room. I zoomed in and stared. On the windowsill sat a pothose plant. I thought he likes pothos too. I have one at home. Later I learned the pothose was bought by Brielle. She also picked the finishes. They were already together then. My $200,000 loan became the down payment on their love nest. Their wedding shoot was taken in that living room. The pothose still on the windowsill. About Brielle joining the company. I need to start at the beginning. A year and a half ago, we were hiring interns. HR emailed resumes to teams, asking if any fit. One was unremarkable, regional college, marketing major. But a note said, experienced in new media, grew a WeChat blog to 50K followers. I figured she had hustle. Interview day, white blouse, ponytail, clean and articulate. I asked, what's your biggest strength? She pondered and answered, I learn fast, and I'm not afraid of hard work. I told HR, take her. 3-month internship proved it. Assignments arrived complete, never late. I brought her to client meetings, taught her deck building, polished her reports. She called me Taylor. Whenever I coached her, she took notes. After hours, she'd bring me coffee. Taylor, caramel macchiato, your favorite. I thought the girl showed promise, steady, sensible. When her internship ended, I wrote the recommendation myself. She stayed, transferred to marketing. I thought it was the classic tale of the older colleague giving the younger one a leg up. Until 3 months ago. That night I worked late and went down to the garage to get my car. Derek's car was still there. There was someone in the passenger seat. Brielle. She was leaning on his shoulder, laughing. Derek tilted his head and kissed her forehead. I stood 10 yards away, keys digging into my palm. The wind was strong. The overhead lights flickered on and off. I watched for 5 seconds. Then I turned and left. That night, I couldn't sleep. Not from heartbreak. It was a stranger feeling, as if someone had slipped a knife between my shoulder blades, and when I looked down I saw my own name engraved on the blade. I was the one who'd brought Brielle in. I was the one who taught her how to build a procurement deck. I was the one who made sure she stayed. Now she was in his car, head on his shoulder. I remember her first month on the job, when she'd asked, Taylor, are you and Derek really close? I'd said, college classmates. She'd smiled. No wonder, you two are so in sync. So in sync. Looking back, she was probably fishing even then. I taught her to build decks. She mapped my history with Derek. I wrote her recommendation. She climbed into Derek's passenger seat. The bubble tea runs never stopped. Taylor, caramel macchiato. Same sweet smile. Now the taste makes me gag. After the garage incident, I didn't confront Derek. I didn't confront Brielle either. I told myself, maybe I'd imagined it. Maybe they'd just shared a ride. Maybe the kiss was only. I was lying to myself. The next month, I started paying attention. Not an intentional investigation, but once you start noticing, the details glare. Brielle's Instagram, 3 days earlier, a coffee cup. Behind it, a man's hand. A wristwatch. Derek's Longines, his mom had bought it for his birthday last year. I'd helped pick it out. On his birthday, his mother had called. Sienna, what brand does Derek like? I'd said Longines, classic model. He'd been eyeing it at the mall. She'd cooed. Of course you know him best. Now that watch was in Brielle's photo. Scroll down. Brielle, a week ago. A windowsill shot. A pothose plant on the ledge. That sill. That pothose. Derek's apartment. My palms went cold. She'd been there. No, she was a regular. The angle was casual, the kind of shot you take right after waking up. Morning. She'd woken up there. I set the phone down, picked it up, set it down again. That afternoon I went to HR. Is the overseas visiting scholar slot still open? Zoe looked up. Taylor? Didn't you say you weren't interested? HR had sent the notice 3 months earlier. LMU, visiting scholar program. 1 year, Munich. I'd turned it down, because leaving meant not seeing him. Now I'd changed my mind. I've reconsidered. The spot's still yours if you're sure. I can start the paperwork. I'm sure. I said it evenly, but when I stepped out of HR and into the stairwell, my legs buckled. I didn't cry. My knees just gave. My phone buzzed. A text from Derek. Sienna, where are you on the Ruhung deck? Emery's pushing. I stared at the message. 15 seconds later, I answered. Almost done. I'll send it tomorrow. He replied with a thumbs up. That was it. He had no idea I'd just signed the intent letter. He didn't know I'd seen Brielle's post. He didn't even know I'd witnessed the garage scene 3 months earlier. All he knew was that the deck would land tomorrow. The Ruhung deck. $36 million deal. Still under his name. Before I left the country, there was one more thing. The holiday gala. Every December, the whole company gathers for dinner. This year, it was at the Grand. I sat in a corner and drank 2 glasses of red. Derek and Brielle were at the same table, 1 seat apart. She kept putting food on his plate. Natural, practiced. Colleagues glanced over, then looked away. Everyone saw, no one spoke. After the 3rd round of toasts, Leo from sales was drunk. He threw an arm around Derek. Dude, nice catch. Brielle's gorgeous. Derek laughed him off. Leo, you're wasted. Leo wouldn't quit. So, when did you 2 hook up? Pretty much last year. Brielle answered, cheeks flushed, voice playful. He chased me. Last year. While I was writing his promotion pitch. While I was presenting the deck to Emery for him. While he was borrowing $200,000, he swore he'd repay by year-end. Year-end came, no repayment. He was dating Brielle. I gripped my glass so hard my knuckles whitened. Leo swung toward me. Sienna, you knew, right? The table went quiet for a beat. Derek's smile froze. Brielle stared at her plate. I took a sip. Of course. Congrats to them both. Polite, perfect smile. Leo laughed. Jamie, let's toast. We clinked. I set the glass down steady, but under the table my other hand was shaking. Near the end of the evening, I went to the restroom. Brielle was inside, touching up her lipstick. She met my gaze in the mirror and smiled. Taylor. Taylor, I've been meaning to tell you. Tell me what? She pressed her lips together. About Derek and me. I was afraid you'd mind. Why would I mind? She studied my reflection. Wary but not guilty. Afraid I'd block her path. Not sorry she'd stepped on mine. Because you 2 are so close. I looked at her, side by side in the mirror. She's young, pretty, flawlessly made up. I'm 3 years older. Black sweater. No makeup tonight. Brielle, you can date whoever you want, I said, washing my hands. It has nothing to do with me. I walked out. The corridor was quiet. I stood for a moment. My phone buzzed. Derek again. Sienna, you left early? Don't forget the final Ruhung deck tomorrow. I started typing. Derek, these 8 years. Deleted. Tried again. Derek, deleted. Finally, I sent the single word he expected. Okay. But I'd already made up my mind. I would hand him the final procurement deck. One last time. Before I left, there were things I needed to figure out. That night, when I got home, I opened my laptop. Every native file for the Ruhung deck was on my drive. Market intel, competitive teardown, pricing matrix. Every revision carried Riley. Derek's computer held only the polished deck. The raw files lived with me alone. 4 years of grinding, captured version by version. Every deck, every tweak, every cell of data, mine. I copied the whole folder onto an encrypted flash drive. Then I opened a second folder. Inside was a single item, a $20,000 IOU. I photographed it, phone, cloud, backup drive, 3 copies. I didn't know if I'd ever need it, but I would keep it. The week before I left the country, something happened that rewired one decision, not the going. That was settled, an entirely different decision. Wednesday night, I was working late. By 10, I'd locked the final deck. Passing Derek's cubicle, I noticed he was still around, except he wasn't at his desk. He was in the small conference room, door ajar. I hadn't meant to eavesdrop, but I heard my name, Sienna. I froze. Relax, he said, laughing. She's no trouble. Whoever was on the line spoke. He laughed again. Sienna's just useful. No need to butter her up. She finishes the work herself. Decks, cash, whatever. What more could you want? A pause. Right, 20 grand due end of year. Haven't paid, and she hasn't nagged. More laughter.
Nag? She's into me.
Flash a smile. By her lunch, she comes running. My nails cut crescents into my palms. Jealous?
Come on, you're my wife.
She's what, a tool? A damn good tool. I knew the voice on the other end now.
Brielle.
Brielle was jealous of me, while Derek soothed her by grinding me underfoot. Useful.
Tool.
Don't bother coaxing. A smile keeps her wagging her tail. 8 years. I spent 8 years teaching you what it feels like to be treasured. You spent 90 seconds teaching me what worthlessness tastes like. I stood outside the glass, perfectly still. Then I pulled out my phone. Voice memo. From Sienna's just useful to a damn good tool. 1 minute 47 seconds. Every syllable clean. I slipped the phone back into my pocket and walked away. The next morning I submitted my resignation letter. Not a visiting scholar application. Outright quit. HR asked why. Personal reasons. Derek messaged me. Heard you're leaving? We haven't handed off the deck. I'll brief whoever you want. Sienna, this isn't about, Brielle and me. Don't overthink it. We're just friends who clicked. Jealous? He still believed he had the power to make me jealous. Still imagined a few glib lines could keep me cranking out decks for him. I'm not jealous. I typed the 4 words. For handoff, Lupin Jean Lay, she shadowed the project. I didn't delete the thread. Those transcripts might be useful. On my last day, I stripped my desk bare. In the drawer lay a photo from graduation day, him smiling, arms slung over my shoulder. Sienna, we'll be in the same city. Let's stay close. I stared for 2 beats, then tore it in half and dropped it in the trash. He was standing behind me. He said nothing. My flight to Munich lifted off at 2 a.m. No one saw me off. The terminal was hushed. Before switching to airplane mode, I caught an Instagram post from Brielle. 2 hearts, 1 couch, 3 meals for seasons. Picture of the living room, same pothose plant on the sill, now flanked by their wedding portrait. I flicked to airplane mode. As we climbed, the city lights shrank to pinpricks. I didn't cry. I didn't feel like crying because another decision had taken root. The 20 grand.
My decks.
My 8 years. I would claim every last piece. 3 years later, I sat in the first-class cabin Frankfurt, Beijing, scrolling through quarterly numbers. The attendant brought coffee. I thanked her. 3 years can rewrite a resume. I'd earned a PhD in industrial engineering at LMU, joined a German precision tool builder to open Asia-Pac, then let a headhunter lure me to Xingyu Group as partner. Xingyu, top-tier domestic precision manufacturer, $1.2 billion in annual revenue, $400 million for my region. In my blazer pocket, a business card that read Sienna, partner, Xingyu Group. The girl who once ghost wrote decks and floated 20 grand to her crush, too timid to confess?
Gone.
This Sienna owns her team, her clients, her voice. The trip was strictly business. Xingyu was hunting mid to high-end supply chain partnerships across China. On the target list, familiar to me, sat Ruheng Technology. My old $36 million procurement deck had helped Ruheng spend balloon past $80 million. Emery, their VP, had stayed in touch. Every new year, he messaged, Sienna, come back. Swap suppliers. Nobody gets us like you did. Emery, wait for me. Now I was back. The jet touched down. Beijing air as dry and cold as memory. Zoe, my China executive assistant, met me curbside. Alex, hotel set. Tomorrow afternoon, Ruheng hosts a sector mixer. Emery sent an invite. Good. And she hesitated. Spit it out. Ruheng's incumbent supplier? Xingyu Group. Project lead, Derek. My hand paused on the luggage handle for 1 second. 1 second only. Noted. Derek. Xingyu Group. After I left, he walked my deck straight to their sales team. Xingyu landed the Ruheng contract. $80 million, built on my framework, my pricing matrix, my client rapport. Now he's Xingyu's program director, 7-figure salary, house, car, wife. All of it mortgaged against my work. In the back seat, I opened the encrypted folder on my phone. Every native file waited, time-stamped, intact. The Riley on every version of the procurement deck, the revision history, the MAC address of my laptop. And that I owe you, $200,000. And that voice memo. 1 minute 47 seconds. She's just so convenient. No need to sweet-talk her. She finishes the job on her own. She's nothing but a tool. 3 years. Time's up. Ruheng's industry mixer was held at the ICC. I wore a black sheath dress. Morgan. Stud earrings. Hair twisted into a low knot. The Sienna, who once showed up in a black sweater and no makeup, no longer existed. At registration, the hostess glanced at my card. Sienna? Syntec? Right this way. The ballroom was packed. Tier 1 vendors, clients, trade press. I took a glass of sparkling water and stationed myself in a corner, sweeping the room. I saw Derek. He stood dead center, suit immaculate, red wine in hand. Brielle beside him. Tonight she was in a scarlet dress, full contour, lashes for days. They worked the circle, small talk and laughter. Derek's smile hadn't changed, confident, polished, perfectly calibrated, as if the planet revolved around him. I didn't walk over. No hurry. Emery spotted me first. Sienna. He waved across half the ballroom. You're back. He cut through the crowd and crushed my hand in both of his. 3 years. I've been counting. We cycled through 2 vendors after you left. Nobody delivers. Emery, I'm home. Perfect. Tomorrow my office, we talk numbers. His voice carried. Heads turned. Derek's among them. For a split second his face flickered. Surprise. Before the mask slid back. Sienna? Red glass in hand, he closed the distance. Brielle trailed. Long time no see, he said, still smiling. Long time no see. Heard you went to Germany? Back for good? Where are you landing? I offered my card. He glanced down. Syntec.
Partner.
The grin froze. Micropause. Then rebooted. Impressive, Sienna. His eyes added a new line of fine print. Syntec is a whale. We do all right. Brielle studied me from behind him. She'd morphed. The intern in a white button-down who once called me Taylor now dangled an LV clutch. Taylor, she cooed, just as sweet as 3 years ago. I looked straight through her. Turned to Emery. Emery, can we grab a quiet table? Absolutely. Let's move. We hadn't taken 2 steps when Derek raised his voice. Emery, wineglass leveled, smile steady. Sienna just flew in. She might not know how the markets shifted. He looked at me. Ruheng's supply chain contract has been locked with Xingyu for 3 years. Rock solid performance. Emery said nothing. Derek pressed on. Plus, a deliberate feat. Sienna's exit was abrupt. Let's just say her skill set didn't quite keep up. He lifted both palms. Emery, you saw yourself. After we swapped vendors, Ruheng didn't miss a beat. Fired. Incompetent. I watched him, silent. Brielle chimed in. Exactly. Derek scaled Ruheng's pipeline from 30 million to 80. That's substance. Nearby reps exchanged looks, whispers. What did she even do here? Used to report to Derek, I think. Oh, then no wonder. The tide was turning against me. Derek swirled his wine. Certain he'd won. Same as when he'd climbed over me inside the company. I waited until he finished. 5 seconds.
10.
Then I smiled.
Done.
Derek blinked. I pivoted to Emery. Emery, that $36 million deck, remember it? Like it was yesterday. The market intel, competitive benchmarks, pricing model. Whose work was that? Emery glanced from me to Derek. Well, who did you ask to present every single review? 2-second pause.
You.
Because I could follow the logic. Every letter, every cell, every Riley, lives on my hard drive. I pulled out my tablet, native files, revision log. I tilted the screen so the circle could see. Earliest version timestamp, August 12th, 3 years ago. Author, Sienna. I eyed Derek. Derek received it September 3rd. His folder only holds the final PDF. The 36 million deck wasn't yours. I spaced the words like punches. It was mine. The room went still. Emery traced the revision trail, then gave a slow nod. Explains everything. After you left, he patched 2 updates, quality tanked. I kept wondering why. He turned to Derek. So that's the story. Derek's knuckles blanched around the glass stem. Emery, the deck was a team effort. You can't just. Your team was you and her. Emery's tone stayed flat. After she left, the slides you slapped together weren't even close. Brielle's face drained. She opened her mouth. Emery didn't spare her a glance. Sienna, he said, you wanted to talk? Let's talk. We walked away. Behind us, the entire room stared at Derek, murmurs rising like steam. I never looked back. Step 1, complete. 3 days after the mixer, Syntec and Ruhung signed a letter of intent. Annual purchase volume, $120 million, $40 million above Xingyu's 80. The news detonated through the sector. Derek called nonstop. Emery, Dylan, anyone who'd answer. Clients replied, "Let's revisit later." Panic set in. Ruhung had been Xingyu's biggest account, 40% of revenue gone overnight. He came to me. We met in a midtown café. The man across the table bore no resemblance to the swaggering Derek of 3 years ago. No smile, no polish. Sienna. What I said at the mixer, out of line. I apologize for the awkward phrasing in the last paragraph. Let me complete the translation properly. Derek called nonstop. Emery, Dylan, anyone who would listen. Other clients replied, "Let's revisit next quarter." He was rattled. Ruhung had been Xingyu's single largest account. Lose it and revenue dropped 40% overnight.
So he came to me.
We met in a midtown cafe. The man across the table looked nothing like the Derek of 3 years ago. No grin, no swagger. Sienna. What I said at the mixer. It came out wrong. I apologize. I sipped my coffee, saying nothing. But this Ruhung deal, could you ask Emery not to yank the rug so fast? Xingyu's been servicing them for 3 years. Derek. I set the cup down. You came looking for me because you thought a little sweet talk would make me help you again. He froze. Just like before? Flash me a smile, treat me to a bowl of ramen, and I'd scamper off to do your work. His face changed. She's just so convenient. No need to coax her. She finishes the job herself. I looked at him. His body went rigid. What did you say? I took out my phone, pressed play. His voice spilled from the speaker, crystal clear.
Sienna?
She's just so convenient. You don't have to coax her. She finishes the job herself. She'll nail every procurement deck and even lend you money. What more could you want? 1 beat.
2.
3. Stop rushing me. She's into me. As long as I smile at her once in a while and buy her dinner, she comes running. The coffee shop was silent. You said that to Brielle on the phone. I stared at him. 3 years ago, small conference room, 10 at night. You recorded. I recorded. His hands trembled. For 3 years, every time I listened to that voice memo, I wanted to ask you one thing. I looked straight into his eyes. I wrote your 47-page promotion deck. I built your $36 million procurement deck. I lent you 200 grand. I took care of your mother for 7 nights straight. I counted each item. Do you have any idea what all that adds up to? He said nothing. You called me a tool. I smiled.
Right.
I'm a tool. A damn convenient one. But Derek. I stood up. Tools have price tags. He tilted his head back to look at me. Probably a sight he never imagined 3 years ago. Sienna on her feet. Derek in the chair. Sienna looking down. You said I was convenient. I stared down at him. I am. So convenient that once I walked away, the whole world lined up to use me. I picked up my bag. I'll keep the recording. Let's hope your new boss still thinks you're a trustworthy partner after he hears it. His face went chalk white. Sienna, what do you want? Nothing much. I reached the door, then paused. Oh, right, the 200 grand. I glanced back. Your IOU's still in my files. With 3 years interest at the bank's going rate, it comes to $234,000. My lawyer will be in touch. I pushed the door open.
Left.
Behind me, he sat alone. The coffee had gone cold. A lot happened over the next month. Ruhung officially terminated its partnership with Xingyu. Not just Ruhung. Emery has wide industry connections. He dropped one line in a couple of CEO group chats. That Derek from Xingyu passes off other people's decks as his own. Character issue. 1 sentence. 3 clients scrapped their upcoming deals with Xingyu. Derek's year-end report had no numbers to show. Xingyu's owner summoned him for a talk.
I don't know what was said.
I know the outcome. He was demoted from project director to senior manager. Salary cut in half. Then came the 200 grand matter. My lawyer sent him a demand letter, a paper IOU, wire confirmations, bank statements. No wiggle room. They scheduled mediation. He brought Brielle with him that day. Brielle's face was stormy. 200,000? You borrowed 200,000 from her? You told me the down payment came from your own savings. Derek stayed silent. The condo cost $350. You had $150. The rest was hers. Brielle's voice shot up. That place was partly her money. No, the deed's in my name. You lied to me. Brielle glared at him. You bought our home with another woman's money, then married me and moved me in? The air in the mediation room froze. The mediator cleared his throat. Parties, please. Pay her back. Brielle spun to me. He has to pay you back. I looked at her. Of course he will. He's broke right now, could you?
No.
I held her gaze. Brielle. She flinched. You called me Taylor for 3 years.
My tone stayed flat.
I got you into the company. I vouched for you to stay. Half of what you learned from me. Her cheeks burned. Then you rode shotgun in his car while he mocked me as a convenient tool on speaker. She opened her mouth. You eavesdropped. I have a recording. Her face drained of color. Derek stood. Sienna, what the hell do you want? What do I want? I pulled a folder from my bag. Repayment agreement. $234,000. I set it on the table. 30-day deadline. Miss it, and I file. I stared at him. There's more. I produced a second document. Certified IP ownership for Ruhing's $36 million deck. Original files, Riley, revision logs, authorship metadata, all notarized. I slid it toward him. Use my framework to con another client, and I sue. He took the papers, hands shaking. This is company property, not yours. I built it on the job, but the core model came from research I developed before I ever clocked in. Legally, that's prior rights. I stood. My lawyers cost more than yours. I wouldn't test them. Silence clung to the room for a long time. In the end, Derek signed the repayment agreement. Brielle glowered the entire session. As we left, I heard them shouting behind me. 200 grand. You never told me you owed her 200 grand. Can you drop it? I'm the one dropping it? You bought our place with her money, you. Their voices faded. I stepped outside. Sunlight flooded the plaza. 200 grand. 3 years interest. Principal plus interest. Every penny. It was never about the money. It was about the reckoning. What you owed me, I collected. All of it. He paid the $234,000 in 3 installments. Sold his Longines, begged a chunk from his parents. Or so I heard. His mother called once. Little Sienna, Derek didn't mean any harm. Can't you be flexible? Auntie. I cut in. Your son borrowed money and refused to pay when it was due. I've already been flexible. She went quiet. 3 years ago, when he was in the hospital, I stayed 7 nights. When you woke up, the first thing you asked was for me to find out what flowers Brielle likes. She said nothing. The balance is 0 now. We're done. I hung up. When the wire cleared, I checked my balance. No fireworks, just a quiet, airtight satisfaction. A closed loop, I guess. 8-year ledger, balanced. From today on, I live only for myself. Thanks for listening to today's story. If you liked it, hit like and share with friends. We can't wait to read your thoughts in the comments. Go ahead and speak your mind. Don't forget to subscribe for more gripping tales. See you next time.